Hey everyone, this is Matthew Kent. Welcome to Theology on the Ground. Thanks for joining me for my daily walk. Thanks for joining me for the daily thought from my quiet time. Today coming out of Isaiah chapter 14 and really hitting back on a theme that I've already hit on multiple times. Recurring themes are becoming a recurring theme here at the Daily Quiet Time Theology on the Ground. Wow. The sunburst behind me is also becoming a recurring theme. Too many recurring themes to count. Anyways, Isaiah chapter 14, starting in verse 24. The Lord of hosts has sworn, as I have planned, so shall it be. As I have purposed, so shall it stand. I will break the Assyrian in my land, and on my mountains trample him underfoot. His yoke shall depart from them, and his burden from their shoulder. This is the purpose that is purpose concerning the whole earth, and this is the hand that is stretched out over all the nations. For the Lord of hosts has purposed, and who will annul it? His hand is stretched out, and who can turn it back? It's actually one of two passages that I read this morning that very strongly highlight the sovereignty of God. The other was in the book of Proverbs 21:1. The heart of the king is like a stream of water in the hands of the Lord, and he turns it whichever way he wishes. Something like that. I was paraphrasing. This one, if you saw the video a couple of days ago where I spoke out of Isaiah 10, and I tried as hard as I could to resolve the difficulty of, well, if God is sovereign, then why does he hold mankind responsible for their actions? Because after all, if God's sovereign, then basically anything we do was already planned by God. So why would he judge us for doing something that he himself planned? And the sun is bright right there. Let's turn it around. That just wasn't going to work. So I tried as hard as I could to resolve that issue, and this is sort of a passage that follows that up. And that passage basically said that God was going to use Assyria to punish Israel because it was in his heart, his intention to punish, chastise, rebuke Israel. He's going to use the king of Assyria to do it. He's going to use the nation of Assyria to do it. But he was going to then turn around and punish Assyria. Assyria was guilty for attacking Israel. And how can this be? Well, because their intentions were bad. They intended to kill and destroy and exalt themselves, and that's not what God intended. So you have this aspect of dual intentions. Now, what's interesting in this passage is you have the fact that he is making his plans then to overthrow Syria, to break Assyria, to drive Assyria out, to free Israel from Assyria, clear. And he's emphasizing as clearly as he can, this is something that is going to happen. This is something that I am going to do. And let's face it, if I'm going to do it, then who's going to stop me? And so what's really interesting here is that God's sovereignty is very clearly worked out in the fact that he has purposes. The purposes of God are very clearly highlighted in this passage, but then also in his might and his power. Look, I have my purposes, I'm going to act on them, and if I act, who can annul it, is what it says. So, I mean, that's the bottom line. God is sovereign. God is at work in the world, whether you realize it or not, and he's accomplishing his purposes. So, like I said in past videos, that's a hard truth to deal with. That does mean that the difficult things that happen to you were predestined, foreordained by God. But ultimately, the truth of the gospel is that you deserve worse than what you've gotten. And God has been merciful to give you what you don't deserve, to forgive you, and to welcome you into eternal dwellings. Those are my thoughts for today. Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow.